Right, so UEFA Champions League review, and in that big game of the second round of games in the group stages, obviously will be that game between Barcelona and then also Paris Saint-Germain, who are the defending champions of the competition. In a very, very keenly contested game, very, very competitive game, where you have both sets of coaches fielding their strongest 11, even though PSG had some injuries to worry about. But then after 90 minutes, it was not really the results most of us anticipated, because Barcelona went into that game with their tails up and in fine form. But then PSG showed their quality, and after 90 minutes, they won by 2-1. But we'll be running through that game to see how it all went wrong for Barcelona in their game against PSG. After taking the lead in this game, they relinquished the lead, and PSG managed to seal that victory through Gonçalo Ramos to win it all. And I'm not here alone in the studios. I always do this with my main man, Atiga Maolifor. So we'll be discussing this game to see, if PSG are still world beaters and if they are still the favorite outright to win this season's UEFA Champions League. Atiga, welcome. But
Thank you.
It was a beautiful game we witnessed, like a very, very, intriguing game with the tactical, ingenuity of both coaches showing. But then sometimes you always talk about translating these tactics, into performance. But after 90 minutes, you just say PSG, outran, they outweighted, they did everything just better than Barcelona.
Everything just better than Barcelona, barring the first 15-20 minutes of the game. You understand? I mean, if you watch the game critically, we saw clearly what PSG wanted to do. From the first half, they gave so much respect to Barcelona, so they were a bit defensive. You understand? And PSG was Barcelona was in a very high line. The way Barcelona did set up made it difficult for PSG to play their game. You understand? But that was in the first 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And Lamine Yamal was on top of his game. You understand? I mean, taking players on, creating chances. But from the 20th minute, the game changed tactically and then technically, because you realize that Barcola was switched from the right flank to the left flank, and he allowed them more control of the game, and that was how they got their equalizer. So what PSG resorted to doing was that they realized that because Barcelona was in the high line defensively, they would not be able to counter press. So what are they going to do? You just put the balls in behind the spaces and have runners, and that is how they got their equalizer. And you see, it disrupted how Barcelona wanted to play. Barcelona, sometimes even their high line, they try as much as possible to get the balls to their wingers, to Lamine Yamal and then Marcus Rashford. But on this occasion, Nuno Mendes did a very, very good job in containing Lamine Yamal, and so their outlet on either flanks was shuttered off. So that is how PSG was able to curtail the attack of Barcelona. Apart from the goal that is scored, they did not create anything meaningful in the first half, right? So it just tells you that even though Barcelona controlled the first half of the first half, the second half of the first half and the subsequent 45 minutes were for PSG.
Interesting. But you talk about Barcelona, the quality they have. And on the day, yes, we saw some glimpses of some skill from Yamal. But on an average, you'd say they only performed for the first 30 minutes, because Rashford was off, Olmo wasn't there, Ferran Torres after the goal was just off. Would you say individually they just didn't have the brilliance, on the day?
It wasn't the brilliance, it was how PSG played. You understand? I mean, you see, tactically, you realize that PSG had a plan. They were going to contain the attack of Barcelona, because they know the threat that both Lamine Yamal and Marcus Rashford could cause, because they've got pace, they are tricky, their skill set is out of this world. So they were not good. Normally, PSG plays in the high line, in the high defensive line, but against Barcelona, you realize that they were a bit back. So it allowed them time to contain Barcelona's attack. So that is one thing that you see. That is why sometimes, as a coach, you need to be able to twerk your system against any other or against an opponent. If it were another opponent, PSG would have been in a very high line.
Of course.
But against Barcelona, they were not in a bit
reserved.
A bit reserved, you understand? But when they regained their confidence and they realized that, no, we can outplay and then we can outmuzzle them. That is why they started shifting a bit forward. But even with that, they were very cautious.
Yeah.
They were very careful because Barcelona has got quality to hit you on any single day. So it's all about the tactical ingenuity of Luis Enrique. You would have to understand how your opposition thinks, how they react, and how they play their game. And he understood perfectly the strength and the weaknesses of the Barcelona setup. If Pedri and De Jong are not able to get a ball to Ferran Torres and Marcus Rashford and Lamine Yamal, then their attack will be blunted. And that is exactly what they sought to do, because we realize, if not because Vitinha lost the ball that led to the goal, Barcelona would not have created any meaningful. You understand? So it is something that we spoke about, that Vitinha, should he have a good day, should he be able to have the upper hand against Pedri, then PSG will have the good game. And the good game they did have.
But who do you say your man of the match was after 90 minutes?
Practically nobody can come near Nuno Mendes. You understand? I mean, defensively, he did the job against Lamine Yamal. He doubled up on him. He made it impossible for Lamine Yamal to have a good game. And you see, two of Lamine Yamal's poorest games that he's played over the last 2 years have been against Nuno Mendes. You understand? I mean, for Spain against Portugal.
Has that created a mental blockade? For a player like Yamal, he's a world-class player now. You can't take it away. He's climbed the podium of the Ballon d'Or, the most prestigious individual prize in the sport.
Football.
But would you say now, with what Nuno Mendes, because Nuno Mendes looks like a monster. Spain against Portugal, he stopped him, he scored. Now this time it's Barcelona against PSG, he stops him, then he assists. It's like he's getting the job done defensively, but then he's also finding ways to also be, very, very effective up front.
It just tells you the quality of Nuno Mendes. You understand? And you see, it is not funny, because the first time they met, everybody thought we were going to meet in the finals, and the topic was between Lamine Yamal and Nuno Mendes. How Lamine Yamal was going to destroy Nuno Mendes, but we saw that play out in the European Championship, where Nuno Mendes had this number. You understand? You see, but the funny thing is that if you have a lateral defender, an attacking fullback, who has got so much defensive nuances about him, but I've also gotten an attacking trend, an attacking presence. Just like, that is the difference between PSG and a lot of the teams out there. You understand? I mean, both the lateral defenders are very good defensively, and when it comes to attacking football, they are equally good. Look at Achraf Hakimi, defensively solid, and he creates a lot of goals and he creates a lot of chances as well. So, and the same thing happens with Nuno Mendes. So it just tells you that they've got a solid left back and right back who can play as a flat lateral defenders, or who can play as a flat lateral defender, and can also play as wing backs. You know, so this is what aids you in your tactical variations. When I want to go 3 at the back or 4 at the back, you've got the same lateral defenders who can equally fit into the system. So it is something that has aided PSG. But one thing that surprised me the most is the fact that to have lost 4 of your key members,
yes, exactly.
4 of your key starters, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué, and Marquinhos. These are 4 key cognitive parts of the ensemble, and they were not in the game. But from the chances that they created and they missed, you will say there's a drop of quality.
Exactly.
But for them to have gone on to beat Barcelona, you wouldn't question that.
It could have been more.
It should have been, not would have, it should have been more. You understand? From that angle, you can question the quality of the players that substituted for the 4 that had missed. You understand? But on the total display and the fact that they were able to beat Barcelona in Spain, their own backyard, there is no need for us to question the drop-off in quality again.
PSG are favorites to win the UEFA Champions League.
No, it's going to be tough. You understand? I mean, they've got what it takes to retain the trophy, but you've got Bayern as well. You understand? Bayern is flying. You've got Madrid as well. And you see, it is going to be interesting this season's Champions League, but I doubt I would have to pick a favorite from now.
Interesting. So that's the game that we witnessed. An interesting game. We actually came your way with a live commentary as well. Artiga gave us a tactical breakdown. What do you also think? How did Barcelona, especially if you're a Barcelona fan, I'm sure perhaps 1 or 2 decisions by the head coach didn't really go in your favor, and perhaps you didn't also agree with him. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel and then also like and share the content. My name is Jose. I was here with Force.